Hi everyone. All right, and could we please write today's date? You should be doing this, I think, on the 27th. Not a problem if you're not. So can you write today's date, please? Learning objective. Pause the video, and then we will carry on. So date, learning objective. Pause the video, please. Right. Okay. So today we're going to be looking at percentage increase and percentage decrease, but we'll just start off as a little reminder from yesterday. So if you wanted to find, or the last lesson, sorry, 22% of 80. Now the way I showed you yesterday is you'd find 10% and go from there. But I'm just going to show you another way of doing it today, and that is basically if you find 1% first. Find 1% of 80. Remember, 1% is the same as 100th. So you divide 80 by 100. Okay. So 80 divided by 100. Remember, we're moving the numbers 2 places to the right. So that would actually be 0.80. So that's 80 pence, isn't it? 80 pence. Now from there, because we know 1%, to get from 1% to 22%, you have to times by 22. Times by 22. So then we do 80 pence times 22, okay, and that will give us 1,760 pence, which we would convert into £17.60. So I know some of you will have been taught this method before, that you find 1% first, okay, 1% of 80, and then you times it by the percentage, and that's absolutely fine that you do that way, okay, that you're doing it that way. But the way I personally prefer to do these ones when I'm not using a calculator is to find, in this case I would find 10% first. 10% would be £8, 20% would be £16, and then 1% is 80 pence. Okay, another 1% is 80 pence, excuse me, there. And then I add them up because that comes to 22%. But it's up to you whichever way you want to do them, okay? £17.60. Okay, right. So as I said, we're going to work through some word solving problems today. But first of all, we need to learn how to increase something by percentage. Okay, it's not difficult. Okay, so if I want to increase 65%, £65 by 20%, I would just find start off by doing the same. I do 20% of 65. Okay, and I do that in the same way. However, if you want to find 1%, £6.50, and times it by 20, you can. I'm just going to do it when I'm going to find 10%, which would be it would be 65 pence, 1%, which will be £6.50. Therefore 20% will be £13. So 20% of £65 is £13. Okay, now I need to increase £65 by 20%. So I take my original £65 and I add on the 20% increase, which is £13, and I get £78. Okay, so when we're doing a percentage increase, we find the percentage and then we add it on to our original number. Okay, find the percentage, add it on to our original number. Then you might be asked to decrease a number. So if we asked to decrease £320 by 35%, first thing I'm going to do is to find 35% of 320. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to find, I think the smart way to do this, I'm going to find 25% and then 10%, and I know if I add those up, it'll give me 35%. So 25% is the same as a quarter, so I'm going to halve this. 160, halve it again, 80, so that's a quarter, that's 25%. So I've got that one there as £80. I know 10%, I'm just going to divide it by 10, so 320 divided by 10, it's going to give me £32. Okay, so I'm going to add those up. What's that giving me? 2 £112. Okay, £112. So 35% of 320 is £112 £112. But of course it's asking me to decrease 320 by 35%. So I take my £320 and I have to subtract the 112. Okay, and you should be able to do that in your head. Actually, you don't need a written method for that, do you? So take away 100 and take away 12. So that should give us £208. Okay. So the answer to decreasing £320 by 35% is £208. You find the percentage first, okay? Percentage of the number, and then you're going to take it away from your original because you're decreasing it. Okay? Right. Let's have a look at a word problem. I think that's what we're doing next. Oh no, in fact, have a go at these questions first, please. On page 152, could you just do question 12, please? I think there might be 4 questions there. Just do those so you can find an increase and decrease in the method I've just told you, okay? So pause the video, do those. When you finish those, press play to continue the video, please. Thank you. Right, so the next step is we're going to be answering some questions, some word problems, okay? Now, when you ask, so it could be a question something like this. This could be the first part of a question anyway. Jeff gets £12 pocket money each week. He works well with his home learning, so it's increased by 15%. When you get questions like this, usually you've got 3 choices. You usually have to give the percentage. Find the percentage. We'll put that one. Find the percentage. Sometimes you'll be asked to do an increase or a decrease. Okay. So that's the 3 things that we generally have to work out. Am I going to increase it, decrease it, or just show what the percentage is? Now I haven't actually given a question for this one. So if this was the question, how much more does he now get? How much more does he now get? Okay, this is just a straight percentage question, isn't it? Okay, so £12 is what he gets. His increase is by 15%. So you have to find 15% of £12. Okay, so that 10% will be, divide that by 10, £1.20, 5%, half that again will be 60p. So he is getting an extra £1.80 a week. Okay, how much more does he get? £1.80 per week. Okay, £1.80. The question could be asking, how much does he now get? Okay, how much does he now get? Now this is different. This is a different. This is asking something slightly different, isn't it? Because yes, you still need to find 15% of £12, which we worked out earlier was £1.80. But how much does he now get? Well, he used to get £12 a week. Now he gets an extra £1.80. So he now gets £13.80. So you can see on this step, you have to do a percentage increase, don't you? You have to do a percentage increase because he's getting more. So that's how much he's getting now. That's the increase that that's the percentage increase he's getting, but we add them together to find his new total. Right, you never know with Jeff because he can be a bit funny. So he could be having a pretty bad time, okay? He works badly with his home learning. Okay, so it is decreased. I'm sure that won't happen to any of you, I'm sure. Right, so in this case, again, it's the same sort of rules apply, isn't it? We still have to find 15%, of £12, which is £1.80. We worked out earlier. Now he gets decrease. So if it's asking the question, then would be asking how much does he now get? If the question is how much does he now get, you would get your £12, and this time he's having it decreased by £1.80. So his new total would be £10.20. Okay, we're taking those away. So that's to do with increases or decreases when applying to word problems. Okay, I'd like everyone, please, to have a go at this question. Hang on, let me find it first. Oh yeah, this is one, please. Have a go at this one in your book, please. Have a go at this one in your book. So pause the video, work out the answer, then we'll go through it. We'll go through it in a few minutes, okay? So pause that, have a go, press play when you've done, please. Right, so Tracy buys a new phone, okay? So, and she gets 25% off the original price. So we do have to find 25% of £420. Excuse me for that. Okay. So to find 25% of something, remember that's the same as a quarter. So I'm just going to do halve it. Okay, to find a quarter of something, we halve it and halve it again. So that would be 210, and that would be 105. Okay, so I can work out quite quickly that 25% of that is £105. Now I have to decide, do I take that away or add it on? Okay, so obviously the original price is 25% off, so that's going to be mean I'm going to decrease it, isn't it? So it's £420 minus the £105, and that should give me, if I can work that out quickly in my head, £315. Okay, £315. Okay, so you should get that for your first one, for that question. Have a go with this next one then, please. Have a go with this next one. Off we go, please. Press pause. When you finished it, please, we'll go over it, okay? Right, let's have a little look. Okay, so again, we've got a packet of biscuits is 220 grams. Okay, and in the special offer, you get 20% extra free. So first of all, we know we have to find 20% of 220. Okay, so we know 10%. 10% is going to be equal to 110. Sorry, 10% is going to be equal to 22 grams. So 20% is equal to 44 grams. So we know 20% of 220 is 44 grams. Okay. Now, right. So that isn't our answer. 44 grams is not our answer, because in a special offer you get 20% extra free. So if you think about that, that's our original size packet of biscuits, and because you get extra free, it's going to be bigger. Okay, so that's your new one. It's going to be bigger than your original packet, isn't it? So our original packet was 220 grams. Obviously, this is extra free, so it's getting bigger. So we have to add on the 44 grams. So we would then get 264 grams. Okay, 264 grams. Right, hopefully that's okay. The work I'd like us to do today, okay, it's not too much of it actually. Oh, in fact, I've got it here ready. Okay, so the work I'd like you to do today is only a few 4 or 5 questions. So page 144, 145, questions 5 to 9. Can you show your workings, please? Show workings, because then I'll know if I can see a problem and a reason why you're getting it wrong. It helps me get back to you and sort of and work through it and sort of learn how to do it properly. Okay, so these are the questions 5 to 9. Then your extension questions, question 1, page 152, question 17, page 155. Remember, the extension ones are optional, but sort of have a go with them, please. Have a go with them if you're feeling brave. Right, okay. Thanks for that, everyone, and we'll carry on with this next time.